Hey everybody, welcome to KimmelsIrishPub.com. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie is called The Late Bloomer. It is about an adult male who has a tumor removed from his pituitary gland area and begins to experience puberty within like 3 weeks. So he's already an adult. So that's all I know about it right now. Obviously it's supposed to be a comedy. It stars Johnny Simmons, if you know who he is, and then Brittany Snow. Among some other actors and actresses, they're the two that I recognize off the top. Hopefully, it's going to be funny. IMDb has it at 5.2. I'll check to see what they have at Rotten Tomatoes, but 5.2 isn't too promising, but we know that could always be deceiving if you've seen any of my other reviews. So let's hope this one's pretty good. I'll start watching and I'll let you know what I think. Hey everybody, time for a quick check-in. We're watching The Late Bloomer. It's 28 minutes and 8 seconds into the movie. Some things I wanted to quick talk about here. There are some other known actors in here, and I'm going to butcher his name. Kamala Nanjiani, I think is his name. If you've ever seen Franklin and Bash, he's Pinder. And many other films and TV shows as well. Paul Wesley is from Vampire Diaries. J.K. Simmons, no relation to Johnny Simmons, I researched that to find out, is in this, and Maria Bello. The two of them play Johnny Simmons' character's parents. So we know what the film is about. I'm up at the point where he has just found out about the brain tumor against his pituitary gland, which caused him not to have puberty yet. Naturally, he's actually excited. So some of the things that weren't discussed earlier is he's a psychiatrist. And you know, he helps people who have sexual problems. He has written a book. Very successful because he has never gone. So imagine you've never experienced puberty and you know, the desires and things that come along with it. So that's how he's acting as a male adult. It's hard to remember what it was like way back then, but you know, just like a school kid. His neighbor is Brittany Snow and her character, and you know, he likes her, but not in that way. And can't figure out like why he's different. He's, you know, not into women, not into men, and you know, other people find it odd, but nobody can put their finger on it. So now we found out why in the film. And his two friends are in it, as I mentioned. Pinder's one of them, and then he has another best friend. And their interactions are funny. So the way that they relate to each other and the things that they talk about, there's a lot of. I'm laughing out loud a lot, so it's nice. It's so far so good. It's beating my expectations due to the IMDb rating. I haven't looked up the Rotten Tomatoes score yet. I will do that for my next check-in. But so far so good. I'm going to get back to it a little bit, and I'll check in a little bit, let you know what else I find out. Hey everybody, time for a quick check-in. It is the 44-minute and 42-second mark. This one will be brief. Don't have much to tell you, but I had already paused it. So I figured I'd turn on the camera and talk to you real quick and let you know what's going on. So his operation was a success. They have removed the tumor, and it took a while. Like he wasn't going through puberty or anything like that, and he was afraid that maybe it didn't work, and that he would still be, you know, weird or something like that. But then now it has finally kicked in, so now he's starting to go through puberty as an adult. So one thing I failed to mention the whole time was it's you know, very over the top with everything related to puberty and sex and things like that. So a lot of in your face. It was I meant to mention that even in the beginning, you know, the opening sequence was very in your face with all that. So if you're not comfortable with that, this might not be the movie for you. Obviously you don't want to watch it with any kids or anything like that, but there is some funny parts throughout. So even though it's a little in your face and over the top with that, gratuitous if you will, there is a lot of humor, and I think there's going to be some more that happens here, and we'll see where it goes. But I wanted to quick check in and throw that point out at you. If you're watching this before you start it, just realize that. All right. I'll check back in, everybody. We're at the credits of The Late Bloomer. So it's important there's a "the" in the front of it. I might have just been saying Late Bloomer, but when I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes to see, you had to use The Late Bloomer. So Rotten Tomatoes had it at a 20% rotten for critics and 23% for users. I might have those flipped, but what does it matter? It's in the 20%. So my take on it, I still thought there was enough humor to make it a lot better than 20 and 5.3 that IMDb gave it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to give it a 6. And I think I thought it was good. It was entertaining. Nothing major in the plot line. The humor, it's all about the jokes and stuff, and it was really about the camaraderie between the three friends that made me laugh the most. The main character, Pinder, and their other friend, I thought their interactions and the way they played off of each other was pretty funny, and I enjoyed that part of it. And that's what I liked most. What I didn't like most was the crassness and how in your face it was. I'll give you an example. There's he's a published author, and he has a book, and they invite him on to Ned Talks, which is obviously the TED Talks, and to speak about his book and about how he takes his sexual energy and channels it into other things to make him successful. Well, this is the Ned Talk happens his post-puberty things, and he switches his presentation to go more in about sex and how people should have more sex, which was, that's fine, but the way that he presents it with such, colorful language and the crassness in it, I think if you leave that out of it, and he could still switch it from, instead of saying, channel your energy from sex into something else, into, hey, have more sex, which was ultimately what he did there. I think there was a better way to present that instead of being so over the top. Would have made this movie a little bit better. I have another example too as well, but I don't want to jump into that real quick. I did want to point out that one of the things that came out in this movie was, you forget about puberty and what happens during puberty, and the change in sexual desires. But then how he went through, he got pimples and his face broke out, mood swings, that he went through, as well as his voice changing. And I thought that was funny because, forget about it, I just thought, oh, this movie is just going to be about sexual desires and that part of puberty, but there's a lot more to it. So ultimately, again, I'm going to take it as a 6. It wasn't terrible. I don't think it's as bad as Rotten Tomatoes thinks it is. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about a spoiler alert. So that's it for now. If you want to stick around, hear a little bit more about it, I'm going to jump into a spoiler, a small one. I'll give you an opportunity to turn me off now. Alright, if you stuck around, so let's talk about the spoiler. Again, it's not like a cliffhanger or anything like that, this movie. It's all about the humor, so who cares about a spoiler in this movie? But, the whole point is him finally getting with the girl of his dream, which is Brittany Snow, who lives across the hall from him. And, and how that all happens, that's part of the plot line and some of the humor that's in the movie. But at the end, she becomes a chef, or a sous chef, for Bobby Flay, and he goes to the restaurant where he's trying to win her back. And so he has to, somehow do that. And one of the ways that he does it is he starts to tell his story, which is, fine. He tells it to the whole restaurant, and I think that's a good piece of it. But then when he goes to speak with her, like, one-on-one and really try and win her over again, all that crassness comes out. Instead of just saying, hey, I didn't have puberty before, now I did, and there's an elegant way that I think he could have explained that, and it would still be funny, but I think that's the part where they lost me. They went way over the top. They didn't need all that. We get the point, and I think he could have done it in his own, because the guy ultimately is a nice guy. He's a genuine guy, and I don't think he needed to flip it on there. That's just my criticism on that piece, and that's why it's not a spoiler, but he goes to the restaurant to try and win her over, and of course we all know what happens there. So anyway, I don't want to belabor this movie. I'm sure if you watch this far, I appreciate it. Let me know what your thoughts are. Give me some comments to things like that, but that's my review of The Late Bloomer. Tune in next time for another movie review, beer review, or fantasy football advice. Thanks for staying this long. See ya.